Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Artists. And today I'm going to be speaking with Leah Fanning of Natural Earth Pigments. She's going to be talking about her beautiful work and also her eco-friendly art supply business that she started. Welcome, Leah.
Thanks so much, Lisa.
One of the things that kind of attracted me, not only your beautiful artwork, but the entrepreneurialism that you've taken on. You had a problem that you had to solve. You were at a point in your life. I know I've been pregnant myself, and you get worried about what you're putting in your body and what you use, and you've solved that problem. And then you don't just solved it for yourself, you solved it for other artists. So can you tell us about that journey and what you kind of went through to come up with your business?
Yeah, it was an interesting journey because I really did it out of necessity for my health and my baby, mostly
Yeah.
for my baby's health because I painted full time throughout my pregnancy. But yeah, I just started mostly for myself, and I just realized I had to get rid of every single toxin in my studio immediately
Yeah.
because I had to paint every single day. And just went from there, started researching old recipes from the Renaissance and finding out of print books on making your own paint. And yeah, I just started from there, ground my own pigments from earth and minerals, used natural plant-based binders, and natural earth paint came about a year later when I realized that I had to share this information because nobody knew.
Absolutely.
None of my artist friends knew, and just
Yeah.
realized I really needed to spread the word.
Yep, absolutely. And the interesting thing too is we're at a time, with AI and all these other things going on in the art world, right? Having a kind of an entrepreneurial spirit, having a product line, having other things as sustainable part of your marketing mix as an artist. It's such an
Mhm.
important thing. Can you speak to that? And also about running a woman-owned business?
Yeah, it's I didn't have a degree in business and I just started. I just started and trial and error and lots of mistakes and figuring things out along the way. And being woman owned was interesting because I had a lot of male advisors, lots of business advisors and
Yeah,
teachers and classes and trainings. And I found in the end, although I got great information from all
yeah,
of them, I
mhm,
really needed to trust myself and my
yeah,
intuition.
yeah,
And I found that when I trusted my intuition, which kind
yeah,
of went against the logic of their financial predictions, but I just
yeah,
trusted myself, it was
yes,
always the right decision every
yep,
single time.
yep.
So, whole different way of doing business, I think, than the normal way. But yeah, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Even when I was a full time artist, like 50% of my time was marketing my
Yeah,
art.
yeah,
So it kind of translated well into this new
yep,
avenue. Yeah.
absolutely. And you were literally your own customer. I mean, so if you created something that you loved and you wanted and you desired, there's a pretty good, sense that there's going to be other people, right? That are
Yeah.
going to want that kind of a thing. And so I think,
Yeah.
trusting our own tuition and also not being afraid of hard work. That's one thing. We know you probably went through a lot of hard work and trial and error, but that thing about taking that step, you know what I mean? Taking that leap of faith, going forward
Yeah.
with it. I think a lot of times, and this is not just true for artists, but just people in general, they're afraid to take that step. Unless it's almost like they want to know 100%, that everything is going to be perfect, right? That if
Yeah.
I took this step, everything's going to work out, and it doesn't. But if you walk in faith and you know that you're going to work hard, that you're going to make the right decisions as you keep walking, just do one step at a time. You don't have to go crazy and do like a off a cliff, right? You just
Yeah.
see, you know what I
Also,
mean?
I,
Keep walking.
yeah, I think I just from my art career, I learned how to handle failure, basically, just getting rejected and then trying
Yep.
again and getting rejected and trying again. And
Yep.
that I think the biggest thing with my business, more than just taking the first step is just perseverance and
Yes.
sticking with it and
Yep.
trying, keep on trying and having financial successes and failures and
Yep.
scary things happen and just keep trying. And even
Yep.
with the chemistry of formulating new paints and mediums and varnishes and failing and trying again, failing, trying again.
Yeah.
So
But there's that. I really relate to what you're saying, and I think that's our kind of mindset as artists. There's something about not worrying so much about the failure because I think our excitement about the potential is higher. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I screwed this up, but I learned this, right? It's like
yeah,
it's like that solving a problem, that you really want to solve. Well, I'm
yeah,
excited. I know you are going to show us some mixing of some of these pigments that you have. So let's
yeah.
get started and move into having you show us what you've got.
Okay, yeah. I thought first I would show some just simple how to mix your own natural oil paint because that's
Awesome.
how I started my whole business because I was a full-time oil painter and it was just earth and mineral pigments and walnut oil and we created an eco solvent for a thinner and just eliminated every single toxin from the oil painting process. But it's just so simple. I can just show it
Yep,
really quick.
absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to pull out some pigments. Let's see, maybe I'll do just a classic red ochre, Venetian red.
Oh,
Um,
and that's my favorite color.
oh, nice.
You didn't know that either. I love Venetian red. Oh my goodness.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, this is from Corey in France, the family-owned quarry that's been harvesting this red earth. Nothing has been done to it, just pure red earth.
That's beautiful.
All right. So to mix with the pigment, you can really add whatever you prefer. We use walnut oil because it's less yellowing than linseed oil, a little bit more archival, although it's slower drying than linseed oil. So some people prefer linseed oil because it's faster drying. But for mixing with paint, I usually like slower drying oils so it won't dry out on your palette. It'll
Mhm.
stay wet for as long as you can. So I usually make a little indentation like a volcano and then pour it on, and every single pigment absorbs liquid differently. So some absorbs a lot of liquid, some absorbs a small amount of liquid. So every earth and mineral pigment has a different molecular structure, different formulation. So um, it's very different. So when people say, how much oil do I add?
Mhm.
It's really different for every single color. So we can see that that was not
Yeah, it
enough.
probably absorbs differently
Yeah.
and
But you want to,
also, Leah, isn't it dependent too if you want like a heavier grind, like a thicker, you know what I mean, versus like a
yeah.
really
Yes, you can control the consistency. And so I might have even put too much oil in just then, actually. So that's why the dropper is good sometimes, because sometimes you just need like two more drops of oil and then it's the
Yep.
perfect consistency. So I probably should have done that, but you
Now,
can
what
see.
surface are you working on? Is it glass? Is it plastic or?
This is glass. I prefer glass, and you could use any surface that's not porous.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't use wood. Paper isn't great because it moves around, but
Right.
you could use like granite or, non-porous surfaces. But glass is definitely my favorite.
Yeah. Now, are all your pigments in your, the oil line, are they handmade or is there a machine that does that?
They're all of the pigments themselves just come straight from different family-owned quarries around, and so we get most of them from France and Italy just because they have the best colors in the earth, the best earth.
No, I mean the when you get them in the tube. Um,
Oh, yeah, the tubed paints. Let's see. are sometimes a mixture. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying, like with some brands, they're handmade, you know what I mean? Like somebody actually mixes them and puts them in a tube, or does a machine do that?
Oh yeah, we use a mixing machine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think I put a little too much oil. So I'm going to put in, although you generally want to just add oil bit by bit and not add pigment later, I'm just going to do that this
And
time.
you also on your website, and I'll put links in the article for everybody. You also sell the dry pigments as well as the mixing
Yeah.
oil and everything. So,
Yeah, we have 20 different earth and mineral pigments and lots of vibrant colors. Lots of people think it's, mostly just earth tones, but we have really beautiful colors.
now, say if you're an artist, and you're mixing up some color, and say it's a color you really know you want to use for like a big area, and you mix up a lot. I know that there are just tubes you can buy, right, to kind of
Yeah,
fill in. So it would last a little bit longer. You can put this in
yeah,
a tube if you mixed a lot of it, for instance.
yeah. I'm looking, actually, I don't have one here, but yeah, you can get empty aluminum tubes. We sell them on our website, but you can get them all over. Or
Yep.
some people will get a little square of aluminum foil and
Oh,
put it in
okay.
there and just fold it up.
Oh, nice.
Some people will put it in a little baby food jar and then put a dab of clove oil on the
Okay.
lid,
Yep.
which will keep it wet longer.
Yep.
And then some people like me, I just leave it on my palette because I know I'll use it up in the week.
Yeah.
I'll like
Yeah.
mix up this much and I'll
Yeah.
use it up pretty quickly before it dries out.
So the beauty, I think, about, as you're kind of putting that together, is you can, one, get your own paint consistency. And
Yes.
I think what's really important is this particular brand, you're not getting all kinds of fillers and everything else that's going to take away from the
Yeah.
actual saturation of the color. And that, I think, is the biggest surprise that maybe a non-professional artist doesn't realize, is that when they're going to the art store and they see like a paint for $5 or something, and it's a
Uh-huh.
huge tube, and most of it, if you actually went to go use it, it barely tints anything, because
Yeah,
it's
it's all
just,
filler.
it's all filler. And here, I've taken handmade paints before, and you could take like just a like take the tip of a toothpick and put it in white, and you've tinted the color,
Yeah,
because it's just so densely
sure.
rich.
Yeah, when you buy a tube of oil paint, they need it to have a really long shelf life in the store, like for years.
Mhm.
So they want it to not separate in the tube. So there's stabilizers and there's additives and chemicals to keep it from separating. There could be solvents in it. There could be
Yep.
heavy metal pigments. There could be like cobalt dryer. There could be dryers in it to
Yeah.
make sure that
Mhm.
all the colors dry about the same rate. So yeah, all of those things will detract from just the pigment and binder, which is
Yep.
all you need.
And the other thing that people also should realize as an oil painter, when you're doing, fat over lean, you got to know what's in your paint. You know, you
Yeah,
you may think you're doing it right, but if you don't know the what's in your paint, and how simpler can you get other than pigment and oil, right? That's all you need
exactly.
is pigment and oil. And why have all these other things that are going to cause cracking? They're going to cause other issues, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
mixing it with all different chemistry in paints. And that's where the complications, that's where the problems solving gets in. And, they
Yeah.
say one thing in life, right? Keep it simple, stupid,
Uh-huh.
I
Simple
think,
is better.
that's one thing to know what's inside of what it is that you're purchasing, I think is important.
And another great thing, which most people don't know, is that earth and mineral pigments are the most UV resistant, light fast, humidity resistant paints on the planet, far beyond synthetic paints. So if you think of like the cave paintings and
Yeah,
Renaissance and Middle Ages, and all of those paintings are still beautiful and
yeah,
luminous, and they haven't changed at all.
yeah,
So so yeah, we're trying to dispel that myth that eco-friendly art supplies is not going to last or not archival. It's actually the opposite. It's
yeah,
actually far more archival.
yeah. Well, like you said, that's the old masters did is they took these pigments, right, and they mixed their own paints.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were obviously, limited with their palettes back in the day, but today, there's so much more options of what we can do and what we've learned. I mean, they didn't have the scientific testing that they can do today,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And just watching you do this is almost meditative. I mean,
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Just the act of making the paint is so relaxing and cathartic and
well,
um
it gets you connected to the color, to the paint as a material before you even start painting.
exactly. Yeah.
Now I'm noticing when you lift it off, you kind of press it a little bit. Is that are you testing the tack? Are you testing?
Oh no, it's just the suction is created and I'm just like pulling it off is
Ah, okay. I
but
thought
I'm
that was
really
a
not
good I thought that was an extra strategy to kind of see, oh, if it does this.
it's kind of stuck. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, the only reason for the glass muller is to make sure that every single particle is completely coated with
yeah,
the oil because if there's any air pockets in your paint, it could potentially crack on your painting, 100
yeah.
years from now. Um, but lots of people don't use the glass muller. They just use the palette knife, which actually is how I was taught in Italy when I
Hmm.
went to art school. They
Yeah,
just used the palette knife and kind of simulated a glass muller like that.
yeah,
So glass muller is just it's faster to get everything smooth, and you can do larger amounts quicker, but not totally necessary.
yeah. I think that for me, the glass part is a must because just that meditative aspect of, playing with it in that way, it kind of connects you back to, the origins of painting, whether that's the old masters or cave painting or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I just love it. And one other thing about earth pigments is that the particles are irregular shaped.
Yeah.
And so synthetic pigment particles are all uniform. They're
Mm-hmm.
uniformly man-made.
Yeah.
And so when light hits a painting that is synthetic paints, it bounces straight back out. But when
Uh-huh.
light hits a painting with earth and mineral pigments, it bounces off in all different directions
Oh,
because of
wow.
the irregular edges of the pigment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's this luminosity in the painting
Yes.
with earth pigments that it's kind of hard to tell unless you see a painting in person, but it's really cool just how
Yeah.
they glow.
And that's, the importance of going to exhibitions and going to museums is seeing not just work online, or in reproduction. You miss that tactile quality, that reflective light quality that paint has. And I saw on your website when you were working, you I saw you out in the wild, like sort of sourcing these pigments. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, she must have some really great stories to share. Like, and reading, like you pull over you're driving in a car and then you're pulling over to the side, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, stop, I gotta go get this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, in Oregon where I live, it's kind of mountainous and there's lots of road cuts into mountains and creek cuts. And wherever the earth has been cut into, you can see the strata of, thousands and thousands of years of layers of
Oh,
earth.
that's awesome.
And so whenever we'd be driving around, I always had a trowel and a baggie and a Sharpie in the car. So I would say, pull over, stop, I see green.
You
And
gotta have a collection cup.
yeah. And I would run up and like climb up these steep banks on the side of a highway. And most of the time I was pregnant, actually.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Now
but
you must have had to really learn what you're looking at, right? I mean, did you
yeah,
use like an app to I know my daughter when she sees things out in nature, she likes to find birds and take photographs and stuff, and she has an app. If she takes a picture, it kind of determines the species.
yeah,
And it also helps to track like where that bird was, migrating to and things like that. How did you know, like, or started to build your repertoire of all of these different sources for pigment?
yeah. Well, in the beginning, I didn't really know much, and it was just trial and error. And I would harvest a beautiful color and take it home, and there's a process where you clean it, like get all of the organic matter and twigs and stuff out, and
Oh,
then you grind it and sift it and mix it with a binder, and then it wouldn't look good. It would like it looked bright red when I collected it, but then when I
yeah,
made it in paint, it turned a dull brown. And so gradually I started getting geology books and figuring out what I wanted, and I want to make sure that there's no sand in it. I want to make sure it's more clayey.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
so I just learned little tidbits here and there, and started, yeah, getting into geology and learning more and more. But yeah, sometimes you think it'll be a beautiful color, and then you do all of the process, and you're like, eh.
yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
have a patron of mine. She does a lot with like she'll cook things and to extract the color, and she dyes paper and stuff like that. And she's had a few of, hey, it was green, but it came out purple. You know what I mean? She had like a lot of interesting stories like that. This almost looks like a gold or a metallic. What are we looking at here?
this is a copper mica,
Oh
and
my goodness.
yeah,
I love metallics there, Leah.
nice. Yeah, we have a gold, a silver, and a copper natural mica, and the copper's my favorite.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it really shimmers.
I mean, I could see that like right from, you know, wow. Because I know with a lot of paints, they have like for instance, acrylics and oils that I have that are a metallic look, but they're, the coated mica particles, which are basically, the mica with the paint in it. So this is kind of like
Mhm.
almost its own inherent color or
Yeah,
wow.
natural.
Super cool.
Grab another color. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this one comes from the US. So I would say about a third of our pigments come from the US. Like Virginia has a beautiful yellow ochre and an orange ochre. Kentucky has some nice browns, and um, micas are from Washington. But
You need to
yeah.
write a book, Leah. You need to have like travels with Leah all over the place, and sourcing things and mixing things and
Nice.
oh my goodness.
Well, the cool thing, when I first started this business 15 years ago, there was nothing online. There were no modern books. There was no websites. There was, social media hadn't
Yeah.
happened yet really. And now it's all over the place, like Instagram. And
Mhm.
um, it's just so many, mostly young women are harvesting their own pigments and
Yeah.
making things in a handcrafted,
Yeah.
slow way. And it's really cool.
And I think that's going to begin to grow. My daughter, she's gonna be 24. She's 23 now. And you'd think because they've been grown up in a digital age, although she doesn't get into social media or anything like that. She's an artist herself. But they are into, believe it or not, like buying the physical thing. Like if there's a movie, she doesn't want to stream it. She wants to buy like the package, you know what I mean, that it comes in. And she likes
Uh-huh.
like albums, like stuff from like another era. And I teach in an MFA program, and sometimes we have older artists and, mid-career artists, and then every now and then we have some younger people. And I'm always amazed on how much they like non-digital stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind of like turned in the opposite direction. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I've seen
Which
that
I'm
too.
all pro for, trust me. And the stuff that they think is precious, and super cool is stuff that looks like they can touch it and hold it in their hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's been so heartening to see that movement
Yep.
toward, yeah, handcrafted real stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
think because, you see so many things and it gets to the point where, you go online and you see stuff and it's like, is this a real person or is this AI?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you have to actually ask yourself this, it's that the movement towards nature, a movement towards self-reflection, a movement towards more meditation in oneself and slowing down and appreciating things and simplifying lifestyles, whether that's
Mhm.
homes or other things. There's a whole huge movement. And I
Yeah,
think it's a backlash to everything else that's just been way too crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I think it's great.
So, one of the things that I also wanted to ask you, where are some of the things you look for in terms of inspiration? Like to making new colors, or it's, maybe mixing some colors of pigments, like multicolored pigments, or do you have inspiration of
Mhm.
things you think about or who you look at?
Well, inspiration for supplies mostly just comes from customers, just artists emailing us and saying, "Do you have this? Do
Oh,
you have this? Do you have this?" So, I'm an oil painter, and so I started out just creating like a salt, eco solvent and natural varnishes and things that I would want. But the most common question we got was, "Do you have a natural acrylic? Do you have a non-toxic
ah,
acrylic? Do you
yeah,
modeling paste? Do you have, so all these different
yep.
things.
And now
So
you guys do. Now you do.
we're,
And it's awesome. Did you want to show us some of these new products that you have?
yeah, sure. Let me just move this palette.
Well, I'm going to have to take a look at your metallics there, Leah.
Oh, awesome.
I've bought every brand, so now that I'm finding out yours aren't just colors, they're actually I've got to go check these out.
Nice.
Is that a
Yes,
new wave palette? A new wave?
it is. These all are all new wave palettes. I love these guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I work with them, so that's why I recognize that.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. I love those. They make the best stuff.
Yeah, so here's our natural acrylic paint set, and but we have 20 colors so far. We keep adding new colors. And yeah, so this is something we worked on for 6 years, just formulating these paints. And it was definitely a lot of trial and error. We worked with many different chemists who just
Yep.
took us as far as they could go with their knowledge, and then because this had never been done before. Um, but these are plant-based instead of petroleum-based for the resin. And then
Hmm.
the thing that took us so long to formulate was all of the additives that are in acrylic paint. So there can be
Yeah.
up to 12, 13 different additives, many of which are carcinogenic, hormone disrupting, phthalates, really bad stuff. And they give it different properties, like they change the viscosity, they keep it from separating, they preserve
Mhm.
it so it doesn't grow mold, they increase the flow. So there's all these different reasons that you have surfactants and defoamers and dispersants and preservatives and all of these things. So we spent all this time trying to replace every single one of those additives with a
Mhm.
plant-based or non-toxic substitute.
Wow.
So that's what took so long. And then, of course, all the pigments are either natural or non-toxic. So
Hmm.
no heavy metals and no toxic synthetics. But we do have some synthetic colors that just because of demand, people need
Right.
the primaries.
Yep.
So, but they're the most non-toxic possible pigment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so we have heavy bodies and then we also have fluid, and they come in different sizes. These are my personal stash that are dirty, but 1 ounce, 4 ounce, and 16 ounce. And again, that was just from demand, like people asking, we want fluid, so we made
Yep.
fluid.
Yep. No, it's acrylics are such a, you can do so many things, especially when you start to talk about the molding, or the modeling paste, depends on, I guess, what brand I think yours is modeling paste, the different mediums, all of those things kind of change stuff and make the acrylics such, for me, if you love exploring, acrylics really gives you a vibe, that you can do a lot of different things with.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a matte medium and a gloss medium and now a modeling paste. And
Yeah,
so we keep adding what people ask for. I mean, it takes us a little while because we're formulating it from scratch and
exactly.
replacing all those additives. But
Exactly. And I love, one of the things with acrylics is people didn't always just realize, if they had issues with oils, they're like, oh, just use acrylics. And then that's got its
yeah,
own situation, that's like,
yeah. Yeah, I think oils are way easier to have in a non-toxic way
yeah,
over acrylics because
yeah,
oils you can, obviously just two ingredients, but these have so many different ingredients.
yeah. And
Um,
really the difference between the oils and the acrylics, you're still using those natural pigments. It has a different binder, right?
yeah,
To acrylics versus oils. So it's just a different kind of product.
yeah, it's a whole different product, and um, but so I mean, it's so important. Most artists in the world use acrylic paints these days over oil paint, and so
Hmm.
it's definitely necessary, especially with all the microplastic pollution with petroleum. But yeah, just the additives is what like I didn't even really know that when I was an oil painter how
Yeah,
hazardous those additives are.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah, and
making me,
also I just
that's a beautiful mixture right there.
I think this is raw sienna and
Yeah.
French turquoise.
Yeah. So you poured out your fluids there.
Yeah,
What are you
fluted.
working on as a surface, Leah?
This is just a piece of plywood, just like
Mhm.
birch plywood, I think.
Is there a size on that? You have a size or medium of some sort?
I don't think I did. No, this was actually just I brushed some mica acrylic. I think it was this actually. I just
Oh,
brushed
okay.
a
Yep.
wash of mica acrylic on the
Oh, neat.
wood, so
Yep.
you don't need to prime for acrylic usually, but yeah, it just goes right on. But yeah, we really wanted to before we released this, we wanted it to be just as professional grade as regular acrylic paint, and
Yeah.
also compatible so people can mix this with their regular acrylic paint and it's completely compatible.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you can always just add in a tube or so to test it out and then
Now, when you guys have, because I have my set of paints, do you guys have like like a natural, like, when a batch of paint comes out, like swatches, you know what I mean? Like instead of like like a printed reproduction of a color,
oh
or is
yeah, we
it,
have a hand painted color swatch sheet. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we do. They're
because
always
I always tell artists if they can't get that to really make their own because you cannot go by reproduced, you know what I mean, color.
I know, yeah, it doesn't.
It's just not going to be the same. You're never going to really match it in the same way. And one of the things that I love about the palette that Leah is using right now, the neutral gray tone allows her to make better color decisions. White will influence the color. And since she's doing a painting, having a gray neutral um, palette really is helpful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always used white until I started using these new wave palettes, and I just love them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually in my demo for acrylic live, I'm using their Stay Wet.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And you know what I was thinking, Leah, was I'm going to be using their full gear. They're coming up with like a backpack with like the easel and, all kinds of accoutrements and I'm going to go out and do some painting in nature. And I'm like, I should bring some of Leah's paints because then I'll have nature paint in nature. You know what I mean? Painting
Exactly.
nature.
You'll be completely in alignment.
I will be. And I thought that's just a nice thought. But it's funny because these are things that serendipitously come, right? Like you reached out to me, right? And then I had this slot that I wanted to fill and share with the Muddy Colors audience. And, we're going to be together at Acrylic Live. And I'd had a chance to kind of play with your paint and, do some other things with it. And it's like creativity, right? The mind gets going,
Yeah.
right? On the potentials of things. And I think
Yeah.
when you speak out into the universe, thoughts that you want to bring into fruition, you'd be amazed like other people come in, you know what I mean, to kind of help those things
Mhm.
come together.
Yeah. Putting it out.
Now, can you talk to us about just some of the differences when you were formulating your fluid versus your heavy body? What were some of the, insights that you kind of wanted to have, or was that
Yeah.
something that you yourself as a painter were interested in, or were these things that customers had mentioned, some of the characteristics I could say between the two?
Well, the main thing is that the fluid has exactly the same amount of pigment as the heavy body. So even though
Okay, awesome. Mhm.
thinner, it's not just thinned heavy body paint. It's the exact same amount of high pigment load um, in the thin paint. And so people use the fluid for, pouring techniques and
Mhm.
detail work and lots of different reasons. But yeah, it's mostly just based on demand of what people wanted. And we were just following their lead. We generally don't like to create new things that already exist in
Mhm.
the world.
Right.
So, like when we created the natural varnish for oil paintings, there is no natural varnish
Mhm.
that I know of that's
Right.
completely non-toxic. They all have solvents, and
Yeah.
so that's why we wanted to create that.
Now, did they use a natural varnish in the old days, like the old masters? Or this is really something that's never like existed before?
That's a good question. Did Rembrandt use a varnish? I'm gonna look that up. Um, yeah, that would be an art restorer question.
Yeah,
But yeah, our varnish is removable, so that's, lots of people ask, is it removable so that you can
yeah, that's
replace
important.
it? Yeah,
Awesome.
but
Now, what about like your matte medium? Like where do you kind of see the properties of your matte medium versus because I find that not all modeling or molding, depends on who you get it from, paste,
mhm,
and not all gessos and not all matte mediums are the same. I've taught
right.
workshops everywhere and people will show up with, I'd have to actually specifically tell people certain brands because they would show up and I'd start going, what is wrong with this product? Like it would just not handle in the same way. So I'm just curious, what were some of the things that you guys felt were important to have in each one of those kind of products?
Yeah, that was super interesting too because we would buy, all of the different products as benchmarks of the most professional modeling pastes. And
Yep,
you're right, they were all totally different. All the matte mediums had a different
yep,
amount of mattенess. Some were way glossier than others.
yeah,
Uh, for the modeling paste, some were really opaque white, some were more transparent. very different consistencies. Some were more kind of acrylic painty like, and some were more like a coarse, thick. I don't know how to describe it, but
Oh, I hear you. Like almost like stucco-y,
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
oh, go
if
ahead.
you could describe, for us, like where you feel your product, because I don't have those here in the studio, so I can't come up with the words. So, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
get you to kind of
Well,
describe, like, where do you see that fit into that range of products that's out there?
I lots of our products are just my personal preference. So
Yep.
for my modeling paste, I don't like it when it's opaque white and it tints your colors
Mhm.
to be more pastel. So our modeling paste is transparent, and but just to you can see that this is more of a heavy body paint. So when you
Yep.
add modeling paste, or sorry, a medium body paint,
Yep.
so you can make it more heavy body by adding in the modeling paste. Although we are gradually making our paint more heavy body as we go
Hmm.
on and get
Hmm.
feedback.
Yep.
But yeah, we
And it
just,
seems it seems like your modeling paste is more equivalent to what they would call like a gel medium, like a matte
yeah,
gel medium.
yeah. It's kind of a cross between a gel medium and the modeling, like your typical modeling paste. Yeah.
Right, right. Was it got like that pumicey stuff or the carbon, like the stuff that you would see in that, but it's like just more clear? Is it set, does
Yeah.
it like if you had to put it down over something, does it dry like semi-transparent? Is it kind of like that?
It's pretty transparent. Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty
okay.
transparent. Yeah. Maybe just a slight haze, but not much.
Does it dry glossy or matte?
It's kind of satin
Oh,
and
okay.
marble dust in it and limestone.
Yes, that's what I was trying to come up with. Marble dust. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
marble dust and
I'm
limestone.
gonna have to try that. You guys have to have like a sample pack, like where you want to try everything, but you'd have little containers of it. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea. I'd love,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I would think that would be super cool. Um, I know some of the other manufacturers have that, and for me, as an artist that teaches, it's real, especially in the mixed media crowd or the acrylic crowd, although I do oils too. Um, it's too expensive for them to buy like a big container, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if there's like these small sample packs of stuff for a workshop, they can get like a little bit of each, right? And then later, if they really embrace like the effects that they've been getting, then they can go and purchase something bigger.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And I'm sure a lot of
We
like
just we
people
just
who teach,
introduced. So say that again.
I'm saying it's a lot. I think a lot of people who teach, that's kind of a go-to because like I would go at the Art Students League in New York, and it was like people either were flying in, you can't bring that much product, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's
Like full
true.
product. And then you try to put it into these 4 ounce kind of, I mean, it just was crazy, right? So
Yeah.
having small samples is awesome.
I wanted to point out, this is the gloss acrylic medium, but lots of artists these days that I see on our socials are mixing this with harvested pigments that they harvest their own pigments and then they mix it with this to make their own paint, just like we did
Yep.
with the oil.
Yep.
And so that's been happening more and more often, which is
Yeah.
cool.
You know
So that,
what, you know what I've done, Leah, is I'll take what's called ultra matte medium, which has like more of that pumice kind of thing to it. And I will
Mhm.
mix that with like graphite powder, and I'll make my own like graphite paint that can be drawn back into because it doesn't have the glossiness of the plastic, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I've done a lot of stuff like with that too. So I kind of
Very
relate to
cool.
people being able to kind of use something and make some things with their own paints. But I'm absolutely just so thrilled that there's so many different opportunities and different kinds of mediums. What about your regular matte medium that you had in the bottle? Is
Mhm.
that very liquidy? Like, does that dry like clear or semi-transparent?
This is totally clear. It can, I mean, it looks white, obviously.
Yeah.
but it dries totally clear on a painting. And so people can use it as a varnish.
Hmm.
They can use it for anything, really,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
paint as a varnish. But yeah, it dries completely clear.
Now, what about it as an adhesive? Although I will tend to
Yeah.
use more of the gel based I like for collage, but people use these. You find that this has also been some matte mediums can be used for collage. Do people use that as
Mhm.
well? Have you noticed?
Oh yeah. Yeah, people use the gloss and the matte
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
collage.
Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing we haven't looked at is your gesso.
Oh
What
yeah.
are some of the properties in your gesso? Like, is it really absorbent or is it a because like for instance, we want to use an acrylic based gesso because it tends to be more flexible for even oil paints. So
Mhm.
sometimes with oil paints, you want one that doesn't absorb so much so you don't get
Yeah.
sink in. But with acrylics, you kind of want them to sink in because you see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
where is your gesso in that range of two whirls?
Well, to solve that problem, we've created two different gessos.
Ooh, there you go. A person after my own heart that understands my problems.
So our natural acrylic gesso actually has not, it'll be released in about probably 3 or 4 weeks now. It's
Okay.
just been formulated and it's in production. But so that will be just like what you're used to with regular acrylic gesso. And
Okay.
so lots of oil painters prefer that. They want that hard impenetrable plastic layer, and
Yep.
an acrylic artist too. And so we have that. And then we also have this. Is that this is a kit. It's a box set and it includes what Renaissance masters used for, as we basically just completely stole the recipe that they
Hmm.
used in the Renaissance. So it's just marble dust, titanium dioxide pigment, limestone powder, and um, let's see, methyl cellulose. So instead of the rabbit skin glue,
Yeah.
we have a huge vegan customer base, so we substituted the rabbit skin glue for a plant-based binder, which is a plant-based,
Awesome.
which is methyl cellulose.
Hmm.
And so this is a kit that you actually mix yourself. The powder's all mixed up and you just add it to hot water and then you add the methyl cellulose glue. So it's a mix your own kind of kit. And
Awesome.
so this is the most traditional oil painting gesso. I mean, you could use it for acrylic too. Um, but very traditional. So back then they wanted their gesso to be more absorbent because
Hmm.
they wanted the paint layers to go into the top layer of the gesso and really adhere to it, not just sit on the surface.
Yeah, mechanical
So,
adhesion. Yeah.
yeah, so these days people want it more to sit on the surface with that acrylic impenetrable layer. But back then they wanted it to, the first layer of paint to kind of soak in and then the next layer of paint sat more on the surface. And
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, so
Awesome.
it is more absorbent.
So we're getting a first looks, not even out on the market yet. So that's
Yeah,
so exciting.
it's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Yes,
Awesome. Awesome. So I
yes.
know, Leah, you are working on a painting, and I'd love to move into that section of your studio so we can see some of these oil paints and stuff that you've just beautifully mixed. And I'm in love
No,
with both of them. You picked literally a metallic and like a
your
Egyptian red.
favorite.
You couldn't have picked a better color for me or colors for me. So why don't we get your camera set up for that? Unless you had some more stuff you wanted to do here, did you?
I just wanted to show real quick that for beginners, we have this natural oil paint kit, which has 10
Ooh.
earth mineral pigments, and it comes with the EcoSolve and the walnut oil and all the instructions for how to detoxify your whole studio and mix your
Oh,
own.
that's awesome.
And then we
That's
also have a natural watercolor same thing. You can mix your own watercolor with gum arabic as a tree sap and honey and pigment, natural pigment. So I just wanted to point those two out.
Just a quick question. I may know the answer, but just want to clarify. So if somebody wanted to just buy a lot of the dried pigments that you have, they technically could mix their own oil or watercolor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lots of people will just they don't need a kit. They'll just buy the oil or use their
Yep.
own oil. And then we also sell the pigments in 1 pound bags, all 20.
Yes. Hmm.
So yeah, lots of people start with that kit and then they graduate to just buying the bulk pigments and the oil.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when people are mixing, do they need to wear a mask or, what are some of the other things that they should be aware of?
That's a great question because even though it's natural, non-toxic, you still don't want to breathe dust. Like if
Yes.
you're walking down a dusty road and a car drives by, you want to cover your mouth. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to breathe dirt or dust or get anything into your lungs. So usually say for me, you saw me, I was just carefully scooping out
Yes. Yeah.
slowly, and I didn't create any airborne dust at all.
Right.
Just very
Right.
slow and simple. So I don't wear a mask, but some people have respiratory issues or are super sensitive. And so,
Hmm.
if you need to protect your lungs in any way, definitely wear a
Yep.
mask or a NIOSH mask or yeah.
Yep.
So, but our
Awesome.
my employees wear masks, because they're handling lots of dust and we have a whole ventilation system. All right. So yeah, this is a painting that I'm working on right now. It's on a piece of birch plywood, and um, I'm mostly an abstract painter, but the past year I've just been inspired by trees. I just want to paint trees. That's all I want to paint, and
Yep.
mostly branches and roots and leaves, like the veins of leaves, really fascinate me. Just that kind of branching, arching pattern.
Yes. Yes.
So, and just recently, for some reason, the spaces between the branches are really grabbing me, and I've been focusing on kind of the spaces between. So, this is one that
Does this piece have maybe a title yet, or is it part of a series?
it's part of a series of tree paintings, and when I walk around my studio, I'll show you a couple other tree paintings, and they all
Oh,
go.
great, great,
Yeah.
great.
And they're all round. I used to paint all square or rectangular paintings, but then I realized that I was constantly just trying to make them look round, and all my shapes were round and swirly and organic. And
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I just need to paint inside a
Yep.
circle.
It's so beautiful. I mean, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of artists that are very much into nature and the concepts behind nature. And I found out from them that trees actually talk to each other. I mean, there's like a whole network of understanding. And then I've been watching these things on, some of the streaming stuff that's on TV now, what they're learning, because they can now scientifically see that energy. They can see it. It's not like, oh, they talk to each other. No, this is real. I mean, so I'm completely fascinated. And you're working with oils with this piece?
Yeah, I mostly work with oils, and this one I didn't even prime the canvas. I just put a layer of I think this was like a French turquoise with Ecosol, just a wash,
Hmm.
and then just adding more and more layers. But
Awesome.
yeah, and I just
Awesome.
like I think generally my paintings I just paint things that make me feel good inside. I
Yeah.
did a series a long time ago of when I was really exhausted of women sleeping. Like 15 women sleeping. So this one, trees just make me feel grounded and earthy and
Yep.
rooted. And
Yeah,
so,
and you got the beautiful trees outside your when you have your leaf earrings on. I mean, Leah, you are like on point today.
it's
Okay, so I'm gonna sit there and let you paint.
okay.
So it's basically an intuitive process for you.
Yeah, I never have any plan. I mean, this one I kind of know what I'm doing, but most of my abstract paintings, I have no plan. If I do have a plan, it kind of ruins the whole process for me.
Yeah.
Um, so it's more just like a conversation. Like I'll make a mark and then say, "Oh, what does that make me want to do next?" And then I'll make another.
Yeah. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I mean, even from this distance, I can see these just beautiful, that Venetian reddish tint coming through, and it's activating the complementary color of the greens and just in such a beautiful way. And
Thanks.
I bet because I mean, as an artist, of course, we learn that nothing's ever like one color, right? And actually in my demo, I kind of talk about this when I'm doing for acrylic live, is that in the skin tones, I do a portrait that really the colors are reflective to what's in the background in that area. So you must be like so sensitive because you're now really understanding color because of all the different mixing, right? So you are seeing like what's kind of happening and just, it's amazing how the brain kind of communicates. And I can see how you're thinking like in those negative spaces of where the potential of activating color can happen between those greens and stuff. And it's not just, oh, it's a green tree or a brown tree, right? It's many different colors because of what's next to even that section of the tree or what might be growing on the tree or what might be reflected from something in the sky or so color is really not what we kind of think it is. It's really about the sensation of what's going on. And do you think about that a lot as an artist?
I'm really super intuitive and in the moment, and yeah, I'm just feeling what I want to do each moment. And like, I have no idea how this painting will end up. I could totally go a different way,
Yeah, yeah.
all different colors. I might walk in tomorrow and think, I need reds in here. And
The funny thing is, just from the camera view, just when those sections that you just put that color in, all of a sudden I see that color in other sections where I didn't see it before. That's really freaky. That is really freaky. It's like, oh, the eye goes, oh, there's orange. And then it sees oranges in other places. And
yeah,
sometimes even when I'm using like a reference for something, if I tell myself, think purple, I'll find all the purples in there. You know what I mean? Isn't
uh-huh.
that weird? So I think that's just something that our brain does. I was just reading something about that, and I just always find that to be like so fascinating.
Yeah, I
Like
love that in portrait, like when you're looking at portraits and you're looking at all
exactly,
the
exactly,
poses and
exactly. It's not like I don't have like a set mixture. You know what I mean? It just really depends on what's happening in the color and the background because that's
mhm.
what determines. And sometimes I kind of, like you said, I kind of feel it. Oh, you put
Yeah.
it down, it's like, well, maybe no, right? And then you're like,
Uh,
yes, that's what I
I,
want to do. That's what I really love.
I'm
Now,
gonna
you
one of my,
always, go ahead.
I'm gonna grab one of my portraits.
Oh, okay, great.
Just you saying that reminded me of back when I was a full time artist. I did
Yep.
commission portraits for people,
Yes.
and yeah, so
See? Yeah. It's like the color is, and it works because of the relationship of what's happening in the background.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
just cools and warms. So
Yep. Now, a lot of your work I know that you're doing recently and is really about nature. When did that I mean, was that something that you had since you were a kid, or is that something as you grew up you felt more connected to it? Like, talk to us about that journey.
yeah, I think it was more. I mean, I was always an abstract painter and did lots of paintings inspired by shapes and patterns that I saw in nature and hikes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I was a total hippie, lived off the grid in a cob mud house. I was very, very connected with nature. My whole house was made of earth, and
You're
um,
kidding. I've never seen a mud house. Where have I been? Oh my goodness. So you built your own house?
yes, it's a hand sculpted house. It's called cob, C-O-B, and
Oh my
it's
God.
earth and straw and sand.
Do you have
And
a picture of that? Like we could post in the articles? Because I'm
yeah,
fascinated there, Leah. Oh my God. So you really, you had, I mean, it's been in you, the gift to working with raw, natural. I mean, there's been that journey. This wasn't just like, okay, I had a pregnancy, I had to solve a problem. This has been like in Leah's repertoire. Like the
well,
mud house became
before,
before the pregnancy.
that was before the pregnancy. So
So there
that
you go.
introduced me because we were like I was learning from this company how to plaster my walls with earthen plaster and pigments, and so that introduced me
Wow.
to it.
Yeah.
But I was still going to my studio and using all toxic supplies every single day. I was living
Yeah.
this totally natural life
Yeah. That's
because I just assumed my art teachers told me I had to use these supplies for it to be an
right.
artful
Oh my
thing
gosh.
with longevity.
Wow.
So it was, but then it wasn't until
Wow.
I that it shook me out of it. But
That's
but
very cool. That's very cool.
yeah, so that period of time, really living and connecting with Earth, I think, brought me my artwork more into connection with like my materials came from nature and
Yeah.
inspired uh, by nature. But
It's almost very, your journey as person and as an artist is very much like the painting I'm looking at right now. You started to connect the roots. Like there's a connectivity to that base, there's a connectivity to that roots, and you've branched out into different places, but they all centrally come back,
mhm,
like, and I think that's one of the biggest gifts that you can give yourself, I guess, as an artist, is that really truly living who you are authentically, you know, living
mhm,
the things that are you and not just, oh, I'm just going to find a way to make money to do this or do that. And I find that when you can be connected to source and who you are that way and allow your journey to walk in that like I'm going to do this, I'll figure it out, right?
mhm,
um you end up putting an investment in yourself that's going to pay off in spades, like time and time again. People
yeah,
too often try to take the quick band-aid method of doing things, and then they just end up 5-10 years depressed, like they never
yeah,
got there. And it's so amazing, and why I find you so inspirational is that you're walking that, and it's like, this is me, and it's all so glorious, and I'm hoping that it inspires other people to find what's in them, you know what I mean, naturally, whatever that may be, and walk, and don't feel afraid that you must have all the answers, or you need a doctorate degree to do it, you know what I mean?
yeah. Just
No. you
yeah.
know
People ask me, tips on starting a business or creating a product, and I just say it's got to be something you're really passionate about.
Yeah, yeah. Because how otherwise you're just going to be like, I hate this, and it's going to take you away. Whereas whatever you learned with your pigments and things, although just happens to be something you use in art, but whatever you learned there was being translated into your art, and that was helping your art and helping your life, and then how it was everything was cross-pollinating in the
Mhm.
way that it should. And I think that's when you start walking that path that feels good for you. I
Yeah.
mean, if I think about it, like where do you see yourself moving in the future? Like, I mean, man, you've done so much, and to me, you're very young looking. So, what's next for you? Like,
Well, yeah, for the natural earth paint business, there's so many products I want to create still that don't exist. There's like
yeah.
printmaking products, and
Oh my God,
there's a lot.
it's another thing I love. Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's so many
Oh,
products that you only get it in toxic form. So there
Yeah.
needs to be at least one alternative for people. And
Yes.
so, yeah, I definitely just want to create making products that are needed on the earth and keep growing. We're still very small, you know, we're still struggling to stay afloat and keep going. So I've
Yep.
spent the past year really marketing the business, and it seems to be taking off in the past year,
Good.
getting the
Yep.
word.
Yep.
So hopefully that keeps happening because most people just don't know we exist yet. So we're just trying to spread the word.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's so much time to do it, and then you gotta let people know about it. But I think that's kind of the easier part in a way, because then one person tells another, you know,
Mhm.
so that kind of floats in that direction. So in terms of art, what's next with painting? Like, you know, where do you see yourself?
Well, ironically, when I started this paint business, I stopped painting because I was just on my computer all day, every day, doing QuickBooks
Yeah.
admin and emails. And so for many, many, many years, I didn't paint at all, and it just sucked my soul. Like I
Yeah.
so much. It was kind of like my therapy. And just
Yeah.
the past few years, I started with watercolors because it was quick and easy. And just recently I got back into my oils, and it just is so nourishing, feels so good. And so yeah, I'm just once I finish this series on trees, I want to have a show of the full series and just go from there. And
Now, do you have a gallery that you've been working with, or do you have a museum that you kind of have a show, you know, that you know this is where this is going to be, so we can let everybody know about it?
not yet. It's still in the works, but I'll
Okay.
definitely let you know maybe by when the article comes out. But yeah, I probably an environmental type of place or a
Awesome.
place called KS Wild that I support. We donate to all these environmental and climate change causes too every
Yep.
month. So we
Yep.
feel good to a couple local groups. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm
Yeah.
just,
Now, you mentioned that you had some paintings of this series around the studio. Do you think you could give us a little tour?
yeah, absolutely. Here's one right here that
Oh,
I
beautiful.
still in the works, I think. I'm not quite sure. I'm just letting it sit and then I'll,
Oh, beautiful.
but again, you can see just the spaces between the branches.
Oh my
It's
God, it's gorgeous. And just that I see like a purpley bluish color on the branches, and oh my God, it's
Mhm.
gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
Gorgeous.
So let's see. This is just an example of my abstract. So abstract work, it's kind of similar to my realistic work,
Is
but
that oil as well, Leah?
yes, it's
Okay,
oil.
is that copper color?
No, this is not, no, the copper's not in here. I'll brush on some copper in a minute once we get over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This, you can see I like to do texture with tissue paper.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that copper
Yeah,
color. Oh, I love
this
that.
is, I do this a lot. It's just gessoed tissue paper crumpled up
Yep,
just to give it some texture.
yep.
Here's one, another abstract.
Oh, beautiful. That one's almost like stained glass.
Oh yeah, you're right. Let's see, here's another tree. This
Awesome.
one also, you can see the,
Yep, the texture, the veiny art. Yeah.
yeah. This one was, I'm gonna do several just mostly about the roots. I just love
Hmm.
tree
Hmm.
roots. And this is my desk. It's very messy. This is another
Oh,
abstract.
pretty. Yeah.
Here's my paints.
Oh, we love
My,
this. So is this a little custom shelving that you created, or like it was like, does this come like this? Or I mean, I
no,
love,
well, these I just got on Etsy. I think it wasn't meant for this, but I just bought these little
yeah.
shelves on Etsy, and then I bought these little clips from I think it's Walgreens or something. These little hanging.
Can you grab one? Because I gotta see what this clip looks like. Oh, okay. It's got a clip
Yeah,
and a hook.
clip and yeah, you can get like a bag of these on Amazon or wherever. for
Oh
really
my
cheap.
God, you guys, this is so cool, right?
This isn't the best things I've ever done. I love these clips. They're
And
just
it is so important. I mean, I use like a little paint crimper to kind of push things off, but the fact
mm,
that when it's, moves downward, you just get it's just a better way to store paint,
yeah,
really.
yeah, and I can scoop my pigments real easy.
Oh
I,
my goodness, I love it.
that's about it. I have a really tiny studio.
Oh, look at this one. Oh, in the sunlight. Oh, it looks so cool. And you can really see, like, sometimes like when the light hits something, you see that rich reds, that Venetian almost like red color coming through.
That is the Venetian, yep.
My favorite.
This is a oh, this is one of the women sleeping series that I did years ago.
Oh, cool. Now, what inspired sleeping women? Were you tired at the time there,
Was I was really exhausted and I was going through
Leah?
a hard period of my life. This is a canvas that I just brushed on some EcoSol on a with a paint, just a wash last night. So pretty dry.
That's
So,
really beautiful. That's really beautiful. It kind of reminds me of a little mindscape. Now, the EcoSolve, like where is that basically a solvent, like a non-toxin salt, like turpentine type of thing is what you're saying?
yeah, it's just like odorless mineral spirits, but it's completely plant based and non toxic. So you can
Does it
actually
have a smell to it at all?
it does have a smell. I think it's like a licorice kind of smell, but it's
Oh, okay.
kind of a
Because
pleasant
I've
smell.
had some that, you've seen that's like an orange smell and it was just
Yeah,
too smelly.
this is not that. It's not that
Okay.
citrusol or whatever.
I'm gonna have to check into that.
Actually, it's made from soybean oil that's been processed and the fatty acids have been extracted. So it behaves just like this is a jar
Yeah. For cleaning?
for painting, cleaning, restoring your brushes, like everything that odorless mineral
Yep.
spirits does.
Yeah.
There's your copper. I wish I could do it more up close.
Well, after you kind of put it on, maybe we can just come closer and,
Yeah.
because that copper has that, like that green patina that you see copper on, buildings, it has that green and copper colors together.
Yeah. I love copper and green and turquoise. It's one of my favorite.
Now, what is this piece like? It's not trees, maybe. Does it have its own kind of concept behind it?
This is kind of just an example of when I do abstract paintings. I have no
Ah,
plan, no
yep,
idea. I'll just
yep,
randomly put a wash, let it drip, have some
yeah,
water, and then I'll just start painting and
yep.
just see what happens. So this is kind of just my process.
It kind of reminds me of like, did you ever see the new Avatar, like where they have like floating like pieces of land, in the sky? It kind of reminds me of that.
Nice.
And the color. Well, although the color is kind of bluish more, but it just kind of reminds me of like areas of Pandora or something. I just love. Now, do you listen to music at all? Like, or do you just kind of paint quietly in the studio?
Sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes there's a little tiny creek right outside my window, so I can listen to the water.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Sometimes
Do you
I
have a favorite time of day that you paint?
usually before, like I want sunlight outside,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
The
usually
ideal thing.
5, anytime before 5.
Do you
Yeah,
ever plein air paint, even though you're not painting what you see, but just to be in nature to paint?
I love painting watercolors in nature. I can show you a little watercolor sketchbook.
Yeah, that would be great. And these are your watercolors, right, Leah?
Yes. Yeah, so I make my own watercolors with that watercolor kit, just pigments and honey and gum arabic. Um, I just like going out and painting.
Oh my gosh, those are gorgeous.
like
And
moss.
you have your swatches. Oh, what kind of sketchbook this? It looks very heavy duty. Is it a watercolor based?
Yeah, it's a watercolor. What is this? I can't remember this brand, but yeah, it's
Oh
heavy.
my God, Leah, the colors. They almost look like they have like gouache feel to it. It's so freaking beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Wow.
And some are just abstract or just I usually don't do landscapes. I just do like a little small thing.
But it gives you the inspiration for compositions.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Leaves,
at the leaves. That's beautiful.
leaves are my,
Look at the colors. It's beautiful.
there's some abstract. I like to do like just a grid of squares and then
Yep.
so I don't feel pressured to do a whole big painting. I can just do
Yeah.
one little thing.
Awesome. And little notes and
Like
those
color.
little pieces on the right that you had, those could be like little paintings you could sell just on their own. Oh my gosh, those are great. Like, I mean, those are just so beautiful, just as like little color studies.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feeds my soul just sitting outside next to water usually and just painting something small.
Well, just talking to you today has fed my soul for sure.
Oh,
I'm so excited about all the things that, you're doing and the products you make and, your journey. And I think you're going to inspire like so many people to see things, from their own perspective. I think too often artists feel like they have to change themselves or do something or be like Mr. Social or Mrs. Social Media and they just feel like empty inside. And
mhm.
there's just so much more. And the more artists like yourself can share your stories and let people know that there's just another way to walk, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that is like something rewarding. Well, that was really all the questions I had, unless there's something else you'd like to, share with us or show us. I'm just so appreciative for the time that you've given me.
Oh, sure. This was fun. Yeah. I'm here if anyone has questions about anything. And I just wanted to point out our website has
Yes.
so many recipes and articles and resources. There, you can probably make every type of art supply you could think of. Gouache, watercolor, pastel, pottery slips, house paint, anything you can think of is you can make with earth and
Yep.
mineral plants and a plant-based binder and a simple recipe. And those are all on our website with video tutorials. And
Yeah, and I know we're gonna because Leah's gonna give me some links and things. We'll share all those in the article, so definitely have people take a look and definitely bookmark her website because obviously you've got new products coming. We got the new gesso that we're all excited about, and then the printmaking inks, what I'm really excited about. Because I love doing holographs, like with collage and things like that. So, yay, so many different things. So we're gonna have to keep in touch and kind of follow each other's journey because I think we have a lot of things in common. And I look forward to just talking with you more. And thank you
well,
so much, Leah.
you're welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, well, have a great day, and we'll look forward to everything that's going to be coming in the future from you because it all looks wonderful. So
Oh,
thank you.